When I was in second grade, our assistant pastor was Father Tom Tank, newly ordained. Father Tom would come out in the playground and play with us and visit with us, and those were when the seeds of my vocation were planted.
You know, I met Father Tom at Bill and Connie Underwood's house in 1986. Cindy and I were at a neighborhood gathering to support a new parish they were going to build, which later became Church in the Nativity.
They had their first masses at Leawood Middle School, as I recall.
Right, but the very first mass was at Leawood City Park. And that was the first time we met or saw or laid eyes on Father Tom Tank. And
who was
obviously,
the pastor
you know,
of this new parish.
He drew everybody in right from the get-go.
Well, how did I meet Monsignor Charles? It was actually at the checkout line at Price Chopper, right next to Cure. I'm telling you what, right then and there, the warmth and love of that guy, just, you know, everybody within 100 yards was going, he's awesome.
We moved on very, very short notice, and we ended up renting a house on the other side of town, and I would drop the oldest two off and go church shopping for daily mass, and happened to land at Curie of Ars Catholic Schools Week at the All-School Mass, and thought there had never been greater joy.
I and Father Charles know each other for a long time. I worked with him for 21 years, and he's a wonderful friend and a good spiritual guy, and we had a good relationship, and we're still good friends. I talk to him every week.
I met Monsignor in 1986 when he came to Cure of Ars. I was doing the bulletin at the time as a volunteer, and then in 1995 he hired me as the office manager for the parish, and I worked for him for 15 years.
When I came to the Archdiocese, they both were serving as vicars general. Monsignor Tank's primary responsibility was the administration of the Archdiocese, and Monsignor McGlinn with the care of the priest. And in addition to that, they both were pastoring large parishes, huge parishes, which both of those are full-time jobs. They both, I think, were gifted with a lot of energy, and I think they both have such strong people skills. Monsignor McGlinn, I think his ability to communicate with anybody, but particularly with his brother priest, and to be a great support to them. There's a good spirit, I think, in our presbyterate, and it's largely because of the leadership of priests like Monsignor McGlinn, who's just naturally joyful, and he's fun to be around and engaging, but also a great seriousness about the importance of the priesthood and our faith. Monsignor Tank does the work of about 10 people usually. He's very fiscally responsible and conservative, but at the same time he has a great heart for the ministry as well, and particularly for those that are on the margins, those that are suffering. So they both, I think, just have incredible leadership skills, and they're able to do a lot because they're able to draw other people in, because people like to work with them. They're a joy to be around, and people like to be associated with them. So I think they're able to do so much because they're able to mobilize other people to assist them with their ministries.
I got to know Father Tom very well over the years, and when I was in college I was discerning vocation to the priesthood, and he became my spiritual director. I was very blessed that my third assignment was as his associate pastor at the Church of the Nativity in Leawood.
His sermons always applied to Michael every week. They did. They did. So when he left, I couldn't nudge him and say, "Are you here? Are you listening? This is for you."
I think the message when you're with him is, this is how Christ or God would treat you.
I think, you know, he is such, obviously, a wonderful, wonderful priest and shepherd in his own way. He doesn't come on too strong. He's just there.
There's about 10,000 people that think they are Father Tom's best friend.
Absolutely.
And that's the remarkable part of this man.
He has put such an influence on so many people, and he continues to do it every day.
The best. He's the best.
When I look back and look at the different stages and the journey I'm on personally, I distinctly remember at one point telling someone, and then I came to Curé, and then I met Monsignor Charles. And truly, he taught me how to celebrate my faith, because he was constantly celebrating his faith with all of us.
He walks the walk in addition to talking the talk up in the pulpit. You know, whether it's the grocery store or at Foo's or wherever, you know he's a priest, and he's the best advertisement for the Catholic faith there is.
Father Charles is a fighter for the underdog. He fights for justice. He's a generous person with charity.
The times that I always remember with great joy are always the Easter Vigil, because it would come to the rite of sprinkling, his favorite part of the vigil, I'm sure. And they would always take, a branch and sprinkle water. Except Monsignor, he would douse. I mean, to the point that there were water fights on the altar.
Everybody loves him, everybody loves him. And, years ago, we put an expansion on the school. And this was, I think, a $5 million project. And we done it in-house. And we collected that money in 90 days. You know why we collected it in 90 days? Because of him. He's the greatest guy in the world.
He has an orphanage in Mexico that he supports. For years, he wrote poems and would dedicate his poem book every year at Christmas time to that orphanage. And the donations he got from parishioners went to that orphanage every year. He's a wonderful man. The finest person I've ever known.
They both served on our administrative team, and it was like point counterpoint sometimes in our discussions. Monsignor McGlinn would be always lobbying for things that would be more lenient in some ways. Monsignor Tank would be trying to keep us to hold the line, keep a balanced budget. They were funny because they would have this kind of lively debate between each other, and then at the same time they were just great friends to each other, and they had great admiration and respect for each other.
I know the two Monsignors knew each other forever. They were ordained the same year.
The friendship that between those two men, and I think how fortunate they are to have each other and have had each other. They went to seminary together. They've been priests and great friends for 50 years.
Yeah, we're talking about two of the all-time greats here, people. These are going down in history. It's very, very blessed to have them in our archdiocese. We are.
I'm so glad that Villa St. Francis is taking this occasion to honor Monsignor Tank and Monsignor McGlinn. These are great priests, great leaders within our community, and great leaders within the church. And I think as they celebrate their Golden Jubilee, we need to honor them, but also to motivate ourselves to give our best as they've given their best, and continue to give their best in service of God and the community.
Well, I'll start with a lump in my throat because I just think that he is so beloved and has touched our lives so profoundly. It's just such an honor to know you and a gift.
You've been an absolute blessing to our archdiocese and everybody in it.
Father Tom, you are my all-time favorite man of the cloth and of the priesthood. You are the best there ever was, and I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for all that you've given our family, Father Tom. You've made a difference.
Thank you for being our friend. We just adore you and are so grateful to have you in our lives.
Father Tom, I love you. And I love you too, Father Charles.
The community at Curé of Ars and what you've done for my family cannot be repaid, and we appreciate it.
We wish you congratulations, Father McGlinn. You're one of my all-time favorite Irish guys over there. So
we send our love your way.
And you're just kind of closing this. I know watching this video is probably really difficult for you because you are a pretty humble guy, and all these nice things that are being said about you. I can just see you shaking your head saying, yeah. But you really were a significant part of all our lives, and thank you for everything you did. We miss you, and happy 50th.
Monsignor Charlie, thank you so much for all that you've done and for your friendship these years. Monsignor Tom, we're so grateful to you for the remarkable leadership. There's so many things that are happening in the Archdiocese for our young people and for our elderly because of your leadership. Thanks, and God bless.